As you know, the John Birch Society has, since the 1960s, had as one of our main action programs the Support Your Local Police program. The full slogan of this program has been Support Your Local Police and Keep Them Independent. Independent from what? Any authority outside of the jurisdiction of the local government, state or federal, particularly federal. The United States stands alone in the fact that we have a local police system. Every other country has a system of national police, or a hybrid of national control over local police. The communists have long had the goal of federalizing the police as the stepping stone towards ultimately having our police controlled by the United Nations. If this sounds absurd to you, start diving into some of our material. A great start is our Support Your Local Police booklet, or contact us for our local police action pack. Right now, we are witnessing a growing movement to federalize our local police, and being supported by the people who want law and order. It is a tactic of reversal, getting the conservative people supporting the communist agenda in the name of law and order. It's a masterstroke on the part of the conspiracy, getting those who oppose communism to support a communist goal. And this is how it's being done. The mayhem in the streets is continuing. It may not be as widespread as a few weeks ago, but in major cities it continues and is shown on television every night. The local Marxist governments in these cities have no desire to stop the violence. In fact, some of them continue to create the conditions for the violence to continue. It's all part of the communist plan, because then it leads to a growing cry for someone to do something. That something is the federal government. If the local or state authorities will not do what is necessary, what is left but the federal government or armed vigilantes, which is not a good thing either. More and more citizens are crying out for the federal government to move in and stop the violence. Once that happens, it sets the stage for federal intervention more and more down the road. If it is widespread, it sets the conditions for federal controls even quicker. In other words, the more cities in which this happened, the more likely the people will endorse a federal solution to local law enforcement, particularly if the federal forces are successful. It will appear to be successful because the main culprits of the communist conspiracy will simply disappear, leaving the dupes who usually engage in crime to continue their lawlessness until stopped, but allowing the real organizers to stay safe. We've used the Brer Rabbit analogy several times, and it fits the situation here. It is the story of Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox. The fox chases the rabbit continually until finally he catches him. He's trying to decide how to kill the rabbit and eat him, and the rabbit tells the fox that whatever he does, do not throw him into the briar patch because that would be too terrible. The rabbit, with reverse psychology, finally convinces the fox to throw him into the briar patch, and the rabbit escapes because the fox can't follow him. The rabbit got the fox to do what he wanted by convincing him that it was what he did not want. The results were the opposite of what the fox wanted. This happens to the Republicans all of the time. The socialists advocate something bad. The Republicans reject it. The socialists advocate something really bad, and the Republicans adopt the original proposal, thinking they've averted disaster with a compromise. With federal intervention, the American people would rejoice in the fact that crime and rioting have either ceased or at least been seriously curtailed. As a result, they would see no problem with continued federal involvement in local police matters. They would continue to endorse federal intervention into local law enforcement and not even realize that they'd been duped. This could all be accomplished under a Trump administration, and the conservative people would feel comfortable in that fact. Let's fast forward and consider what may happen down the road if a very leftist president is elected. The power would have already been established, and then this president would start the process of actually nationalizing the local police. And it would all have been started as a means to control the mayhem purposely brought about by the Marxists, making it look as if there was no other solution. This is all just smoke and mirrors. The real solution is for local people to demand that their local government let the police take care of the problems they have, or get rid of the people in their local government, either by recall or election. Most of the rioting could have been either prevented or stopped rapidly had the local police been allowed to do their job. Until recent history, rioters have always been dealt with harshly, and the riots have been stopped, usually very rapidly. But if they are not stopped by harsh measures, they continue. Anyone who is hesitant to loot, for instance, and sees that the looters are not being stopped, then even more people will engage in looting. It's that simple. Do not forget that the local chief of police is appointed by the mayor. If the mayor is a Marxist, what about the chief of police? The rank and file of police officers who want to do their job can be caught in a real dilemma. We discussed the idea of private property last week. Our country's founders understood that private property was to be sacred, or law and order breaks down into anarchy and government ceases to operate. The police and the citizen must protect property. If not, we as a free nation will cease to exist. Many people understand this, but what they may not understand is that the solution of federal intervention into local law enforcement is a very slippery slope into federalization and ultimately nationalization of our local police. In the hands of Marxists, it could not be more disastrous. Please contact us for more information on supporting your local police. Through our jbs.org website or store, we have plenty of material that you can use and then share. Also consider becoming part of a Support Your Local Police committee. With enough patriots working together, we can stop the Marxist agenda in their tracks.